Good morning, everyone present here. I am Dr. Revati, Academic Consultant in the Department of English, Sri Padmavati Mahila Viswavidyalayam. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome each one of you to the PM-USHA sponsored two-day multidisciplinary national seminar on recent disciplinary trends towards social transformation. We are glad to have distinguished and diverse group of participants here with us today. Thank you for joining us. At, our, at outset, I welcome the President of the inaugural session, Professor P. Vijayalakshmi, Dean in charge, School of Social Sciences, Humanities and Management, come on to the stage and occupy the chair. I also extend my hot welcome to Professor C. Vani, Coordinator of PM-USHA, and guest of honor to come onto the stage and occupy the chair. Ma'am will join shortly. It is my privilege and honor to welcome today's esteemed chief guest and keynote speaker, Professor B. Tirupati Rao, Department of English, former Registrar, Dravidan University, Kuppam, onto the stage to take the chair. I also extend my warm welcome to today's distinguished guest, Professor M. Narendra, eminent writer and Sahitya Akademi awardee. I request you, sir, to please come up to the stage. I'm happy to welcome Professor Y.S. Sharada, Head, Department of English and convener of the seminar. And I also invite Professor V. Nirmala of the seminar to come onto the stage and occupy the chairs. Once again, I welcome all the delegates from different places, other staff, students, research scholars from other departments of Sri Padmavati Mahila Viswavidyalayam. Your presence and participation make this seminar success. Thank you. I now hand over the session to Professor P. Vijayalakshmi ma'am, President of the inaugural session today. Thank you.
Today's keynote speaker, Professor B. Tirupati Rao Garu, and distinguished guest, Professor Madhurantam Narendra Garu, and the department head and also the seminar convener, Y. Sharada, and co-convener, Professor Nirmala, and the faculty, and distinguished guest, and participants from different disciplines, from different colleges and students. Very good morning and welcome to the university. Uh, when I saw the topic, I'm really excited. Because I've been working in this field for the past few months in transdisciplinary research. So when I saw the recent disciplinary trends towards social transformation, I'm really happy and excited to listen to you, and also looking forward for the outcome of this seminar, because the disciplines are changing very fast. The concepts or the theories and models, skills, and the knowledge is, changing at a faster rate. I would like to just quote here the famous futurist and inventor Buckman Fuller, who proposed the knowledge doubling curve. Because when I read his work, I was really, very excited how the human knowledge is progressing. He says that, the human knowledge until 1900, doubled for every century, in a century. But by the end of the World War II, the human knowledge is progressed for every 25 years. But I think now the human knowledge is progressing in a different way and have a different growth rates. So, for example, you take the nanotechnology. The knowledge in nanotechnology doubles for every 2 years. But you take, for example, clinical technology, it doubles for every 18 months. And on an average, the human knowledge doubles for every, I think 13 months. But then recently, IBM proposes that the human knowledge doubles for every 13 hours, which means that, all the different disciplines are progressing very faster at a faster rate. And then I'm sure because of this changes in the knowledge in different disciplines, new disciplines have emerged. I never heard until recently there is a discipline called astrobiology or ethnomusicology. Even I look at my own department when I joined in 1993, we have a very different conventional, not conventional at that time, also very very unconventional courses our vice chancellor introduced. But recently there are many more changes like food technology, bioinformatics, or media management, where I belong to. I belong to the journalism department. We introduced a course called media management. Now I invite our Professor Vani, actually who is the Dean of School of Sciences and also the coordinator of the PM-USHA, to the stage. So what I mean to say that in a very brief, I'm sure you're all come up with different concepts from different perspective from your own discipline. So why we need to understand the changes in the different disciplines is because to adopt the knowledge, to address the global challenges. It could be public health issues, it could be a poverty elevation, it could be entrepreneurship, it could be a music for mental health. So now I think the line between the different disciplines is becoming thinner. So it is a high time that we need to adopt the concepts and models from different disciplines. Also, take up a multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary researches to address the global challenges. This is what I would like to say. With this small briefing about the seminar, I thank you, Professor Sharda, for making me part of this seminar. Now I request Vice Sharda to introduce the seminar objectives. Sharda.
A pleasant morning to all of you. I think Professor Vijay Lakshmi has set the tone for the seminar by talking or initiating the theme of the seminar itself. So, President of the inaugural session, Professor Vijay Lakshmi, Dean in charge, School of Social Sciences, distinguished chief guest and keynote speaker of the inaugural session, Professor Tirupati Rao, former registrar, Dravidian University, Kuppam, guest of honor, Professor B. Vani, coordinator, PM-USHA, distinguished guest, Professor Madhurantakam Narendra, eminent writer and Sahitya Academy awardee, co-convener Professor Nirmala, my own colleagues in the department, Professor Bharati and Haripadma, Professor Sheila, who retired from our department in 22. We have friends and colleagues from other universities like SP University. We have Professor Kusma Harnath sir. We have our own colleagues in other departments of SPMVV. We have few teachers from our own academic affairs dean, Professor Usha, and social work department. We have our friends. So, and then we also have delegates who have come here with great enthusiasm from different parts of the country. And also I welcome the research scholars, staff and students of not only our department but other departments too. I extend a very warm welcome to you all. We're very happy to have you all on our campus on this special occasion. At the outset, I take this opportunity to express my profuse thanks to the administration for sanctioning us with this grant for the conduct of this seminar. This is sponsored under Pradhan Mantri Uchatar Shiksha Abhiyan. And we owe a special thanks to Professor B. Vani, coordinator of PM-USHA, who is the really a soul behind the felicitation or facilitation and also the sanction of this grant. Madam has encouraged us and she has helped us a lot in this direction. Madam, thank you so much for your encouragement. And it's really a privilege to have two distinguished people in our midst, Professor B. Tirupati Rao Garu and Professor Narendra Garu. And thank you both for accepting our invitation and being here, sir. And before I introduce the seminar, I'm proud to share a few things about our own department. The department is one of the first departments which was established along with the inception of the university in 1983. And a prestigious English language teaching project was sponsored to the department by the Overseas Development Administration UK during 86 and 85, 1986 and 85. And the department has been active since then, organizing various international and national seminars, workshops, orientation programs, refresher courses, and even during the COVID times, we have organized several webinars. So we have been active and we are now currently 5 professors in the department with 1 academic consultant. I'm also pleased to share that we have 2 endowment lectures in the department, one in the name of Professor Veena Nobuldas, who served as the Vice Chancellor of this university, and the other in the name of an alum, in the name of Gottipati Sindhu Vimala Subbarao, endowment lecture sponsored to us by one of the alumni of the department, Professor, Dr. Vijay Lakshmi. And we have also a gold medal instituted by Professor Neeraja of the department in the name of her parents. And we have two book prizes, one instituted by the staff of the department in the name of Professor Veena Nobuldas, and another instituted by the alumni of Hyderabad Central University in the name of Dr. Sindhu Meenan, who was a student there. So, it's really pride to share all these things. And one another important thing that I'm actually privileged to share with you is we run a newsletter called English Mahila, and which generally I share with several of my friends who are sitting over here and who come from different universities. And there is a lot of appreciation for this newsletter, and I'm sure that our university is the only one, our department is the only one in the state which runs a digital newsletter, quarterly digital newsletter, English Mahila. It is named English Mahila, and we have received appreciation from different, from senior professors, vice chancellors, and other teachers too. And now currently in the department, we also have projects. Two staff members of the department, we have projects sanctioned under RUSA and also under PM-USHA with a total budget of 12 lakhs. And so far the department has produced more than 100 PhDs. And the PhDs are, the current scholars are working on various areas like prison literatures, memoirs, films, autobiographies, transgender literature, and so on and so forth. And keeping itself abreast of the latest trends in English studies, the department has been from time to time modifying the syllabus of the MA courses in order to suit the students who prepare for NET, JRF, and other PhD programs. And I'm equally proud to share that 75% of our students are placed in as teachers, school teachers, or lecturers in junior colleges, degree colleges, engineering colleges, and several of our students are also here who are working in and around Tirupati. Yeah, so this is briefly about the department. And coming to the theme of the seminar, the seminar intends to focus on various disciplines that contribute to bring a desirable change in the attitude of the people and their communities. We are aware that the social problems are often interconnected and complex and require insights from multiple disciplines to understand and to address. In this direction, multidisciplinary approaches provide a holistic understanding of social issues, considering several factors such as the social, economic, environmental, and cultural context. Moreover, approaches also lead to innovation and creativity to merge diverse perspectives and to arrive at innovative solutions. In turn, multidisciplinary collaboration facilitates knowledge sharing, allowing experts to learn from each other and develop new ideas. It also contributes to address the root causes of social problems and to look out for more comprehensive solutions in the technology-driven society in which the human relations and sentiments are getting disturbed. In this context, I just want to tell you that when we shared this brochure of the seminar in different groups, several people called us and asked whether it is an offline one or an online one. And several requests were made by people that to hold it online. But we didn't yield to their requests. We stood very firm on having an online, offline seminar, and we also convinced them that it's time that the COVID times are over, and now it's time for us all to, exchange our ideas face to face, and then come personally together, and then share a few ideas openly, and slowly the number of papers started coming in, because initially, almost I think till February first week, we didn't have any registrations. But slowly now I'm proud to share with you that there are more than 100 papers that have come, and that is really overwhelming. I thank all of you who have been so enthusiastic to present papers here, and I'm really proud to share that the papers that have come, they are not ordinary papers. They have the range of subjects that have been discussed in each of these papers, right from digital humanities, AI tools, films, media, health, technology, whatnot. You can see all the disciplines, the contribution from all disciplines in this seminar. And we feel so happy that we are right. We have taken the right theme for the seminar, where we are able to include scholars from different disciplines, and that's how we have all gathered over here. Thank you so much for your support and cooperation. And so we so we can the variety of papers we received reflected the creative ideas, knowledge and enthusiasm of the paper presenters. And when we okay, so therefore, I am sure, like when you are leaving the Mahila University, I'm sure that none of you will be unhappy. Like you will be, you don't want to leave Mahila University, in fact, because that's how our environment is. No, all of you must have really been impressed by our surroundings also. So I extend a warm welcome to you all once again, and I see that I'm sure that you'll all have a very pleasant and comfortable stay here, and we will have a very fruitful seminar with good discussions and then exchange of ideas. Thank you, one and all. Now I hand over the rest of the proceedings to our president. Thank you.
Yes, on the dais, of the dais, and my dear students, good morning to all of you. By chance, I think I am here today. Actually, I am on leave, and the department forced me to come here today. And PM-USHA, as of all of you know, is the third phase of RUSA, a centrally sponsored scheme, and we are the only university in AP to get 100 crores under Meru project. And at the outset, let me congratulate the Department of English for for organizing such a multidisciplinary research, which is a part of NEP 2020. NEP 2020 encourages multidisciplinary approaches in higher education institutions. So I think it's a very contemporary and trending thing, and I again congratulate the organizers for taking such a good subject. And my appreciation to the organizing committee also for bringing out a book which is part of a research journal of English. And all the best for the department, and I hope this seminar will come out with a good detail, good come out with the deliberations which will help for the improvement of our higher education. Thank you.
Good morning. So when Madam makes a reference to my father, I become a bit sentimental. So please bear with me. So respected President of the session and the other dignitaries on the dais and my dear friends. I think all people of all periods believed that they belong to a period of transition. And we, the contemporaries, live in a period of not only transition, but also a kind of turmoil. It's a period of trials and tribulations. And every new thing, every new invention has brought out a qualitative life in addition to a number of unforeseen things which made our life complex. I think our life is more complex than any other life in the past. War seems to be eternal, and peace is a very small intermission in between the two world wars, said William Golding Lord Malangbank. When we are comfortably and heartily indulging in these deliberations, the bombing is going on in Ukraine. There is a war between the Palestinians and the Israelites. The civil wars in Syria, Siberia, and Myanmar is at a feverish pitch. And there are agitations everywhere, right from New York to Tirupati. If you look at the newspaper that comes to our house every day, oozing in blood, you can find out how many agitations are going on throughout the world. There is an agitation in Washington, D.C., in London, in Imphal, in Nagpur, in Calcutta, even in Vijayawada. This is the situation in which we are living. So, war is always disastrous. We know it pretty well. Right from Vyasa to Steinbeck, they told the same. What happens to the rulers? We can find out in Moon is down. Still, the man is not changed. There is a striking shift in the academics during the 1960s and the 70s, when the Western narrative was questioned and challenged. The third world narrative came into the existence. We began to think about the freedom, the democracy, rewriting of the histories. And then Cicero's discourse of colonialism, Fanon's Richard Yates, and Edward Said's Orientalism became the seminal texts. We were deeply involved in these studies at that time. Now I am afraid we are almost reached to the end of that. Recent trends are quite alarming. The politicization has become a menace to the humanity. Whether it is rightist or leftist, the basic questions remain the same. What is humane? What is good? What is justice? So we are at the crossroads once again, even in the academics. And so it is impossible to be apolitical now at times. Even the academics is very much influenced by the political things nowadays. And so who is the minority? Who is the majority? Who are the marginalized people? If we look at our place, Dalits and women are the marginalized. But when you look at the entire nation, Islam and Christianity are the minority. I was born and brought up in a village where Hindus were minority. Minority and majority, these are all mere cliches. But what is happening in reality? That is the basic question. So, the true identities and the true people who deserve the justice, whether we are in a position to deliver it or not, that's the question. Very few months back, I was in America. When I found an interesting situation, people felt very free. They enjoyed freedom. So the LGBT was quite strong at that time. You know what happened now? Within a few minutes, there is a transformation. I don't know whether we are proceeding in the right direction or not. So we began this journey long back, to quote the words of Ezekiel. We don't know whether it is a pilgrimage and an enterprise. We don't know where we are heading to. We don't know why we started and where we are going. I don't know whether we can at all realize that the home is the place where we can gather the grace. By the time we realize it, our hands are burnt. But please don't complain that I am being pessimistic now. But we have to realize the reality. But this is the right place to tell you all these things. It is the students and the writers who always stood by the side of the marginalized in the history of the mankind. We always strive hard to make this world into a better world. So the role of the students and the academics has played a vital role in the history of the mankind. All great agitations, all great movements were brought down by the students. Writers might not have played an important role there, but it is the writers who stood by them, and it is the writers who initiated the things, who triggered the movements. Thus, once again, we have a great responsibility at the crossroads. In fact, I am in a way tricked to come here. I am here only to say something about my creative writings. I have gone far off from the academics. I am happily enjoying my superannuation, burrowing my head in literature, not looking at the facts. But sometimes I am forced to come to the reality, and I thank the organizers, especially Professor Sarada and Nirmala, for making me a part of this important seminar. And I sincerely hope that this seminar will have fruitful deliberations today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Good morning to all. Once again, a warm welcome to this Today National Seminar. It's really a great pleasure to introduce Professor B. Tirupati Rao, with whom I worked for nearly 9 years in Dravidian University. So I have seen him from the close quarters. A man of a passionate lover of literature, arts, and aesthetics, and above all, a very good human being. Now, coming to the formal introduction, Professor B. Tirupati Rao is from Dravidian University, Kuppam, Andhra Pradesh. He completed his undergraduate studies in Tenali, followed by post-graduation from Acharya Nagarjuna University. He earned his PhD from Sri Potti Sri Ramulu Telugu University, Hyderabad, and was awarded a D.Lit from Tumkur University, Karnataka in 2012. Coming to his teaching and administrative positions, Professor Rao embarked on his teaching career as a lecturer in English at Sri P.B. Siddhartha Arts and Science College, Vijayawada from 1990 to 2006. In the same year, he joined Dravidian University, Kuppam as an associate professor of English, and later he became a professor in the department in 2012. He possesses extensive administrative experience, having served in various roles, including head of the department, director of the publications, controller of examinations, finance officer, and the registrar of the university for a full term. Professor Rao is also a member of Board of Studies at several universities, including Krishna University, ANU, SVU, SPMVV, Yogi Vemana University, and Sri Vijayanagara Sri Krishna Devaraya University, Ballari, Gulbarga University, Gulbarga, Karnataka. He has actively participated in the selection committees for various universities. Coming to his research and publications, under Professor Rao's guidance, 13 PhDs and 4 MPhil degrees have been awarded, and now with 8 research scholars currently pursuing their PhD. His contributions extend to both Telugu and English literature, with notable works such as Aesthetics, Modern and Postmodern. Professor Rao has translated short stories by eminent Kannada writer H.T. Pothe into English. He has authored over more than 100 research articles, both in Telugu and English, published in various national and international journals. Professor Rao also wrote a fortnightly column, Good Book Guide, in Deccan Chronicle and contributed columns on literary and philosophical themes to Missimi, Telugu Monthly, and Vijeta, Telugu Daily. Among his notable books is Postmodernism in Telugu, published by Hyderabad Book Trust in 1999, recognized as one of the best 10 books in Telugu published between 1990 and 2000 by India Today. His latest book, Baumaniyam, Adhunikata Nundi Dravanuvikata Daka, that is from modernism to liquid modernism, by Zygmunt Bauman, from modernity to liquid modernity, was published by Analpa Book Company, Hyderabad in 2022. Liquid Epistemologies, exploring Zygmunt Bauman's ideas on modernity and liquid modernity, and the question of meaning in Jacques Derrida and Indian tradition, and fragmented perspectives and exploration of the post-modern phenomena by TR Publications, Chennai, and Michael Foucault, Deconstructing Power, Knowledge and Cultural Narratives by Atlantic Publishers, New Delhi, are the notable books written by Professor Rao. He has delivered keynote addresses at over 50 national and international conferences on literary and critical theories and organized 3 national conferences. He has also broadcasted more than 60 talks in English and Telugu on radio, covering contemporary continental philosophers, and conducted 2 literary programs for Doordarshan, Vijayawada. Professor Rao is an associate of the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, IIAS, Shimla, having availed his associateship 3 times. He submitted a UGC major research project titled The Question of Meaning in Jacques Derrida and Indian Tradition, receiving a UGC grant of 6,32,000 in 2012. And he holds memberships in national level associations such as and international such as the British Council Chennai, Gedhe Institute, and Usmania University Center for International Programs. Thank you for accepting our invitation, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Nirmala, for nice words. Professor Y.S. Sharada, Professor Vijayalakshmi, Professor Madhurantakam Narendra, a distinguished writer and a professor of English, Professor Vanaja, Professor Vani, Professor Nirmala, Professor Bharati Madam, Professor Haripadma Rani, Professor Harnath, Professor Neeraja, who is not here. These are all my old friends. Old not in the sense of age, but the association. It's a long association. I am not new to this university. In the same guest house, I stayed almost 10 days delivering certain lectures to students of MA English here. So I feel at home to be here in this university. An important seminar which is relevant in the contemporary studies, where we are finding teaching became an art of summarizing everywhere from school level to university level. In many cases, we have been observing after the generations of Professor Narendra, teaching became a kind of summarizing. My strong feeling is that the text is intensely embedded with a certain kind of story or narration or meaning. The business of the author is to unravel that meaning and explain things that are not familiar even to others themselves. That is the business of a teacher, a scholar, or a researcher, or a critic. But unluckily, the situation is very gloomy, where many of us are summarizing. So in this kind of context, there is a need to focus on the textual reading with the help of various disciplines. Because earlier you used to believe when a philosopher says something, it is ultimate. Aristotle said so many things on so many aspects, ranging from botany to philosophy. But 90% of your observations are considered to be wrong now. But he was the one who spoke on everything under the sun. Now time has gone. Now we are in a different type of situation where the place of a philosopher not replaced or supplemented by scientist. So before 15th century, there was no scientist and there was no discipline called science also. There was only philosophy. Philosophers were telling about everything. Before what you call before Darwin, there was a scientist, there was a philosopher, not scientist, in 3rd century BC, who said that men descended from fish. It's a kind of a root or base for evolutionary theory propounded later by Darwin. But Darwin is a scientist. Anaximandros was not a scientist, he was a philosopher. Because Anaximandros concluded that men descended from fish basing on his imagination, his creative thinking. And that was philosophy. Whereas science, that imagination is needed, but mere imagination is not acceptable because science needs proof. So, with the knowledge, establishment of knowledge, with the proof started around Renaissance period. And since then only we have the science and scientist. But when it comes to literature, where earlier we never used to equate literature with science. But in the context where science itself became a kind of literature. Because science, you find a scientific formula prevailing for a number of years and would be replaced by another perception with regard to a particular aspect which a science propounded. That means there is no permanent ideas or ultimate ideas given by science. Same is the case in literature. Literature represents life, if science represents the universe. So a perception of a universe is given by science, a perception of human society or human beings is given by literature. In both the cases, these perceptions are not absolute, these perceptions are relative. Relative in the sense you cannot say that it is ultimate. If it is ultimate, either science or literature will die a natural death. They are surviving means they are surviving by changing. They are surviving being reinterpreted. There was a scientist by name Thomas Kuhn. In 1960s, he published a book called The Structure of a Scientific Revolution. In that, he proposed an idea or a concept called paradigm. In science, paradigms are changing. In literature also, paradigms are changing. What is this paradigm? For example, for long we all believed that Earth is flat. And it was all supported by the then great scientists that Earth is flat. Right? But later, that scientific perspective has been changed. Now they confirmed that Earth is round. Earth is round. This idea is also being challenged now. Not totally, but it is in the process. So, in knowledge systems, we will have some kind of understanding at a particular historical juncture. Later, our perception will change. That is why the agreement of a few scientists, like in the language, we all call this mic. We all agree on that. And tomorrow we may call it moke if we all agree. It is only an agreement. The same is the case with the science. If all scientists agree, it becomes a scientific formula, and that agreement or an idea that is agreed upon is called a paradigm. For example, for long we believed that crows are black in color. Crows are black in color. One day some virtuous fellow or some normal fellow found a crow which is white in color. What happened to the earlier definition? That is, the crows are black in color, has to be rewritten. And then a sentence is written, crows are black and white in colors. Black and white in colors. And later somebody may find a crow which is green in color. They say crows are multicolored. So our opinions, our perceptions are changing because our experience is changing. So we have to accept the same in the case of literature too. In literature, opinions are changing, the ways of interpretations are changing, the ways of reading are changing. So a text that was considered to be very bad at one particular point of time is considered to be a great text in later times. Because we are getting new heuristic tools to understand literature, to understand a phenomena which is complex. That is why interdisciplinary situation in the present context is the one in literature where we try to understand a literary phenomena that has been presented in a particular text. Now we are reading it. That is, a Boris says it is not reading which is matter, rereading which is matter, which is matters, which matters rather, rereading. For example, we read Shakespeare. Shakespeare has written some dramas around 16th century, in 16th century. Now, if we read Shakespeare in the same way as he was understood by Elizabethan reader, and Shakespeare would have died a natural death. Shakespeare is alive even today because we are rereading Shakespeare. We are reading Shakespeare in the ways which Shakespeare himself could not understand. We are giving new meanings. After all, a text is constructed with a language. Language is nothing but sign system. For a sign, there are multiple meanings. Since there are multiple meanings to signs, since the text is constructed with symbols or signs, the interpretation we give to symbols will change. I will understand a phenomena in my own way, and she will understand it in a different way. And you cannot say that our understanding is wrong and my understanding is right. As Harold Bloom said, all understandings are quote unquote misunderstandings. Because if it is understanding is there, that writer will die a natural death. If Mahabharata, as it is written by Vyasa, is read in the same way in all these years, that Vyasa would have died in the same time itself. But Vyasa is alive because Mahabharata is rewritten and reconstructed. Reconstructed in the sense means everyone is trying to put a paradigm in it and reading it from a different perspective. Paula Richman, an American scholar, published a book with the title Many Ramayanas. Many Ramayanas. Ramayana is not one. Likewise, we have many Mahabharatas. Right? And somebody in Karnataka wrote a book, Bhimayana, trying to understand Mahabharata from the perspective of Ramayana. In Telugu, somebody wrote a text, Ramudiki Sita Emautundi. What is the relation between Rama and Sita? He concluded that the relation between Rama and Sita is brother and sister, which is shocking to us. That means everybody is trying to read a text in a different way. That is why the texts are alive. That is why Shakespeare is alive. That is why Kafka is alive. That is why Dostoevsky is alive. They are alive not because some what you call unimaginable or absolute idea has been articulated in a given text and the same is continuing in all these days. No. We are trying to give a new meaning to the text that has already been given by another in his own sense. Right? Recently they made a movie on Hamlet. And Hamlet, in that Hamlet, we are familiar Hamlet with a sword, with a princely dress, with a magnanimity and all that. In the film, the Hamlet wears a jeans pant, t-shirt and with a pistol in his pocket. The pistol in his pocket. But same story, same narration, same dialogues. But the way of representation changes. That is why Shakespeare is alive. They say that 2,000 people are writing on Shakespeare every day. At least 2 books are published on Shakespeare. At least in 2,000 places Shakespeare is performed. How is it possible he has written 37 or 38 dramas? If it is the same thing, how much reputation can humanity sustain? After 500 years, he is alive. We say that there is no great writer than Shakespeare. Except Bernard Shaw, nobody challenged this idea, the greatness of Shakespeare. Bernard Shaw that I am greater than Shakespeare because I came after Shakespeare, he said. in a typical Shavian comment. But in spite of that, nobody challenged. Nobody challenged in the sense nobody read the Shakespeare in the same way as the Elizabethan readers read. Heraclitus, a great Greek philosopher, said that you cannot place your leg twice in a flowing river. You might have heard it. You cannot place your leg twice in a flowing river, because when you put your leg first time, that water flows. And when you try to place the same leg twice, second time, the same water is not there, new water came. So you cannot claim that you have placed your leg twice in a flowing river. Louis Boris, and Latin American writer, said that a text too is the flowing river of Heraclitus. You cannot read the same text in the same way. The text we read, Maxim Gorky Amma, I read when I was in my first year degree. Now if I read the text, I am shocked. It had not at all interesting. It was terribly boring. But at that time it inspired me. So where is the change? The change is in my understanding. So the text gives you such a kind of understanding where the authors themselves cannot imagine. Because they say that literature is enigma. An enigmatic element is there or embedded in a literary text. We know as students of English that words like mystery and enigma. Mystery and enigma. Mystery you can understand, like Bermuda Triangle, we can understand mystery. But enigma, we can never understand, but we will have some idea about that. You see, for example, Mona Lisa's smile, with which the painting became very popular. Mona Lisa's smile. What is the meaning of smile? We know Shakespeare said there are daggers in smiles. There are daggers in smiles. The same Shakespeare said you can laugh and be a villain. That is possibility is there. That means smile has a meaning. What is the meaning of the smile of Mona Lisa? Art critics have been struggling for the last 500 years, from 16th century onwards, to attribute some meaning to the Mona Lisa smile. I say something, she says something, and you say something, and all these somethings are maybe, maybe, maybe. But there is no finality. If there is any finality, that painting will be forgotten. That means we are creating a charm for that painting by our interpretation. As already said, our interpretations are based on various experiences which are called theories. So multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary is needed in that sense to make the literature alive. And I told you that literature creates a kind of situation where the authors fail to understand the meaning of their own text. We know the popular example by Rolla Barthes, the death of the author. I don't want to repeat it, death of the author. Once the text is constructed or circulated in the public, the umbilical cord between the text and the author is cut off. When the child is born, there is a cord, umbilical cord, and immediately after the delivery, the nurse cuts that cord. Until then, whatever the change that takes place in the body of the mother will influence the body of the child. The moment that cord is cut off, the child will have its independent existence. Same is the case according to Barthes, the text's existence. The moment the writer writes and circulates it to public, when it is in the hand of the reader, the author has no control on the meaning of the text. The author cannot claim that he got this kind of meaning when he wrote it. That may be his meaning. But when I read it, I got a different perspective. It gives totally a new kind of meaning for me. And you have to respect that. We are using frequently now textual democracy. A writer has to respect the democratic right of a reader in constructing, in generating a meaning to a given text. There are various examples where the authors fail to understand the meaning of their own text. T.S. Eliot is the best example. He was given Nobel Prize for that book, Four Quarters. In London, they arranged an international seminar. All the scholars on T.S. Eliot were invited. The eminent scholars throughout the world were invited. And T.S. Eliot was also invited. He was in the first row of that seminar. And people, internationally reputed scholars, are giving lectures on that four-quarter small book of some 30-40 pages. And they are giving lectures. After 20 minutes, this man confused. The other was confused. And he went out and came with a bunch of papers and pen. Started taking notes. The man next to him asked, "Sir, what are you doing?" "Taking notes. For what? For the poems they are interpreting. Sir, you have written these poems. I don't know all these meanings. I don't know all these meanings. There is another brilliant example from morning, madam. Another brilliant example from Apollone, a French poet. Early in the morning he got up and wrote a poem and he read it. He could not understand. That is terrible, no? You failed to understand your own poem. But it looks very beautiful to him. It looks very good to him. But he is unable to understand the meaning of the poem. Immediately, he called his friend who was a literary critic. And friend, I have written a poem. It's very good. As T.S. Eliot said, genuine poetry can communicate before it is understood. We say something is beautiful. If somebody asks why it is beautiful, we may fail. Like that, the other failed to understand the meaning of his own poem. Sir, my friend, I have written, I am unable to understand. Will you come over here and explain the meaning of the poem to me? Why not? That friend went to Apollone and explained the meaning, and the poet was happy. Because it is a kind of identity he has created for himself in the form of a poem. But that identity is distorted, as Einstein has forgotten his own name. And he was stopping everybody in the streets of New York and asking, "Sir, tell me what is my name, what is my name?" He is disturbed like anything. After 1 hour, somebody came and told, "Sir, you are Einstein." Then he was happy. Likewise, this poet was disturbed because he could not understand the meaning of his own poem. There are various examples like that. You can generate any kind of meaning from the text. There is a story in Bible, they say. In Bible, a character called Lazarus dies, and his mother weeping and beating her chest, unable to control her. People are trying to console, but nobody could console her. On the way, Jesus Christ was passing. Looking at that, he rushed to the spot and asked, "Why? Sir, our son is dead, Lazarus is dead, and we are unable to control her." Immediately, taking pity on her, that mother, Jesus looked at the Lazarus and he said, "Lazarus, get up." Lazarus got up. Lazarus, get up. Lazarus got up. How? That's a mythical story. We need not go into reason. But the context here is that Paul Ricoeur, a French philosopher, stated that like Lazarus was made to get up, a critic or a reader can get meaning from the text. If you say that, let this meaning come out of this text. Let this meaning come out of this. That meaning will come. I will show you from the example of Hamlet, the play Hamlet and the Tempest. So these are the situations where we are trying to interpret the literary text. So to interpret literature, it is not enough if you are exposed only to literature. In most of the literature department, what they do is they read the text thoroughly, they by heart the text thoroughly, and they repeat the text. And that repetition, what they are doing, beautifully constructed story, beautifully written story is distorted. That is a kind of harm one is doing, a kind of violence one is doing on a text that is beautifully constructed. What is your business? Literature is not a literary theory, literary criticism and interpretation is not a parasite. It is a creative activity itself. That is why we are able to create new meanings which the author themselves could not interpret it. So in that way, literature needs various disciplines to understand. We know that Hamlet. You know Hamlet. Hamlet, there is a problem. His father is killed by his mother or along with his uncle, who marries his mother. And the ghost of the father asks Hamlet to avenge his death. And Hamlet decides to avenge, but he fails. He fails to such an extent where he contemplates on suicide, to be or not to be. There is nothing but a contemplation on suicide. Because that burden is there. He promised to his father that he will avenge, but he could not. So he goes to the extent of committing suicide, but ultimately he is in a tremendous crisis. What is the reason for the crisis of Hamlet? There are many occasions where he can perform that, kill easily uncle and come out of that burden. and he could avenge. But he did not do. Procrastination, they say, procrastination, postponement. There are so many silly reasons given by Hamlet for delaying in killing the uncle. At one moment, the uncle is is praying. There is no one in that chamber. He is alone. He has a sword with him. He can directly go and kill, for which he is waiting. An occasion for which he is waiting. That occasion was there. And again there, he postpones. Why? He postpones stating that if I kill him now, he will directly go to heaven. So after killing somebody, what is your problem if he goes hell or to heaven? But he is a reason, that is a silly reason. So in that way, throughout the play, we find a number of occasions where Hamlet is unable to avenge. What is the reason? For 500 years or 400 years, people could not understand the reason behind the postponement of Hamlet. A student of Freud, Ernest Jones, came out with a book, Hamlet and His Problem, and there he explained that Hamlet is unable to kill his uncle because he was suffering from a complex called Oedipus complex. I will explain it later, Oedipus complex. So then only we are able to understand the procrastination of Hamlet. Until then, that thing is not known to the other. And we know that T.S. Eliot had written an essay on metaphysical poets, John Donne. John Donne, a great poet, immediately after Shakespeare, was not at all recognized for almost 300 years or 350 years. Only after T.S. Eliot wrote that article, Metaphysical Poets, in which he analyzed the greatness of John Donne. Now he is considered the major poet that England has ever produced. That means he read it creatively. Now, there is a problem. The fact and fiction. What is fact and what is fiction? It's very difficult to distinguish, particularly at the moment of in a situation where we are talking about post-truth. The distinguish fact from fiction is very difficult. But here is a writer who could identify something in that, and he wrote about it. And later there are so many articles, so many things which put new light on the poetry of John Donne. That means literature made alive by successive generations of theories or theorists or philosophers or readers. Even readers can, in the normal readers or lay readers, can understand a meaning in totally different, because it's all creativity. I have a friend, a chemistry lecturer. He had a 3-4 years boy. Now he became elder. That boy, one day we were all discussing in his home, and we heard sound from a room. That sound generated out of breaking a slate. That boy of 3 years broke the slate by beating on the ground because he was not interested to go school, like a snail unwilling to school, like a snail unwilling to school. Remember Shakespeare. So he broke the slate. Immediately, his mother took a stick and rushed to the boy to beat him. Before she reached him, the boy said, "Mommy, see how many slates? See how many slates." So mother understood it from the perspective of destruction. This boy saw it as if he has created 10 slates out of one slate. This is the perception, right? So we have different perspectives where we can read things. That is why, as Nietzsche said, there are no truths. There are only versions of truth. The truth which we strongly believe, when it is put by some other person, I tell something to madam to pass it. She passes it to pass, ultimately it reaches to the last man. If I go there and ask him what I told, I will be shocked to know that that is not what I told. Everybody has, consciously or unconsciously, some narrative technique in them. They add or they delete. Literary interpretations are also like that. They assume certain meanings, they attribute certain meanings, and they imagine in a different way and read the text totally out of fashion, against the grain. So in that way, the contemporary situation has provided us a kind of responsibility where we have to create a kind of a thing to read literature in a new way, or in a different ways. As Derrida said, there is nothing outside the text. There is nothing outside the text. The text is its own center. Though the sentence is distorted, there is some sense in it. Because you have language there, the other has constructed, and you read it and you interpret it. And you interpret it from various categories or various theories and various ideas. And because of that, the text lives forever. But ultimately, what is literature? Literature deals with, as somebody said, with the four liquids. Wherever I go, I repeat this example. Four liquids. Any literature written in any language ultimately boils down to these four liquids. One is sperm, another is blood, the third is tears, and fourth is sweat. Fourth is sweat. If somebody writes a very sexual story, a passionate story, a story that deals with love and lust, this falls under the category liquid, that is sperm. A man who is struggling throughout the day, suffering, and it comes under the category sweat. A man involving in war, a man involving in physical pain, that comes under in sweat, the blood. And the fourth one, tears, pain, sorrow, right? All these experiences which are emotional comes under that fourth category, tears. No literary text, no literary content, no literary theme can go beyond these four. Though it is a kind of exaggeration, the fact is that you cannot go beyond four. Anybody can write anything, it will come under these four categories. These are the four categories that writers for thousands of years have been dealing. How they are dealing? They are dealing it in different ways. The same thing is dealt in a different way. The same moon was described by poets, millions of poets from thousands of years. The same moon. Object is same. But they are responding in a different way. So that is why a literary text is constructed on certain constants. And the perception with regard to those constants are changing. And this is possible because various ideas and theories are applied. All these ideas and theories are not absolute, they are relative. Einstein, a great scientist, imagined that the universe is operating on absolute laws. Absolute laws. If some law is there, that means if the bottle is in my left hand, and when I say that the bottle is in my left hand, it is absolute statement, right? But the bottle is in my left hand only as long as I am like this. Einstein says, if you move like this, the bottle still may be in my left hand. But in other contexts, for example, madam is left to me. Madam is left to me. This is a statement. Einstein says, Newton says that this is absolute because in universe, left is left, right is right. But Einstein told us it is not like that. It is changing because it is relative. Without changing the position of madam, I can say that madam is right to me because I change. Right? Now, madam who was left up to that moment becomes right to me. So my earlier statement that madam is left to me only acceptable as long as I am like this. The change in my position, there will be a change in her position also. So the universe is not operating on the absolute laws, rather it is operating on relative laws. What is relative? Somebody asked Einstein, out of curiosity to generate some interest, I am telling. Somebody asked Einstein, sir, you are telling us so many complex things in the name of relativity. How do you explain it in the simplest form possible? Immediately, he said that beautiful girls, he said, beautiful girls. Now, the beauty is the best example. How, sir? We can simplify it. You take Aishwarya Rai to Africa and ask Africans whether Aishwarya Rai can be accepted as a Miss Universe or Miss World. 95% of the people oppose because their perception of beauty is different. You bring Miss Africa to India, Andhra, and ask Miss Africa as the beautiful woman. Right? 95% oppose. So, our perception of beauty is different from their perception of beauty, or their perception of beauty is different from our perception of it. You might have seen in the African novels, many, because you are all elders or are matured, so I don't hesitate to sell certain things. In African novels, many black men are craving to have sexual contact with white women. After having that contact, they are disappointed. Right? This is a kind of myth they have constructed. That myth is deconstructed when they have undergone that experience. That is why you should not, as Nietzsche said, there are no truths, only versions of truths. So about these four liquids, so many people told so many versions of truth. The business of our literary critiques or literary theory is that of trying to understand a version of it. That is what is happening in all these years from Plato to Derrida. This is all what is happening. Everybody is trying to give a version of the text. The same text. For example, people go to films and four people go to a film. They come out of the theater. The first one says that he had seen the excellent movie in his life. The second one says the average movie. Right? And third one says the nastiest movie he had ever seen. How can four perceptions are possible when the reality is one? Because all the four have their own versions of it. The same is the case with the literature. So when you apply these versions and these theories, you will understand a different kind of meaning to the text. And these theories are theories not in the what you call exact sciences. These sciences themselves are not exact. Paul Feyerabend said that like a poet describing the universe, a scientist is also describing the universe. So in the description of the poet, between the description of the poet and description of the scientist, the difference is not much. If the difference is not much, it means that they are almost same. They are almost same. Why? Because no scientific theory in the entire history of science was unchallenged for not more than 50 years. So those 50 years people believe that what science said is ultimate. Science said is ultimate. But later it was proved it was false. According to the contemporary observation in the light of Einstein, many theories propounded by Newton are wrong. In literature also, many theories propounded by Aristotle are wrong. Shakespeare himself discarded the theories of Einstein. Without his knowledge, he broke the principles of Aristotle. Who is the hero? What are the unities? He broke all the three unities. No unity of time, no unity of place, no unity of action in the dramas of Shakespeare. If Shakespeare followed Aristotle, we would not have remembered Shakespeare. Because Shakespeare wrote dramas against the ideas of Aristotle. So that means everybody is trying to understand the world or the version of it in his own experience and trying to analyze it as per that. So now we are talking about various theories like moralistic theories, like feminist theories, psychological theories, anthropological theories, or postmodern, post-colonial, post-structural, deconstructionist, or third world, fourth world, the list goes on. So all of them are applied in understanding a literary phenomena. And everyone is trying to read the same text in a different way. Now, I wish to focus or draw your attention to certain kind of readings with regard to the play, because that play is very much familiar. So wherever I go, when I draw the attention of a particular text, many people are unable to respond that they read the text. So this text, if there is any English teacher or professor or lecturer who says that he did not read Hamlet, I doubt their caliber as a teacher. So believing that they read Hamlet, I took this one as an example. Before that, Roland Barthes said that there are texts which are actually I am supposed to read, but thinking that I would be bored, I am trying to speak extemporally. So there are texts which are readerly text and writerly text. So readerly texts are the texts where we assume some meaning and say this is what the text says. There are certain writerly texts where it is very difficult to imagine the meaning. The best example is that the writings of Beckett, Samuel Beckett. We know how he responded. He was asked, "Sir, what you wanted to say in the drama Waiting for Godot? What you wanted to say?" The immediate answer was, "If I know it, I would have put in the text itself." That means you go and read the text and imagine the meaning you can. So like that, it is a writerly text where the text challenges the reader and the reader will construct a meaning to the text. As I already told, it will be shocking to the other. So the text should be, if it is a great, all great classics are the writerly text where they challenge the reader to imagine, to use his imagination and construct a meaning. Let us try to apply the same to the play Hamlet. I applied it in many ways. For example, Plato's ideas related to the morality, the truth, and the universe can be applied to Hamlet. The Platonic reading of Hamlet emphasizes the philosophical ideas of truth, justice, and reality. Hamlet's search for truth about his father's death and Claudius' guilt mirrors Plato's concept of seeking deeper truths beyond appearances, like moving beyond shadows on the cave wall. The story related to cave in Plato's Republic and Plato's writing is very popular. There is a cave where so many slaves are tied down, and there are lamps in the cave, the what you call the oil lamps. Because of these lamps, the bodies of these slaves are reflected, the shadows are reflected on the wall. When a man takes a rock and moves, the shade is also moving. And whatever they does, it is reflected on the wall. Whatever they do is also done by these shadows. Being there for long, they understood that the shadows are also real. The shadows are also real. And they believe it for long until a man goes out of, a slave goes out of the cave and sees that the shadow is not there. And he comes back immediately worrying about losing of his shadow or unable to find the shadow. He comes back. Immediately the shadow is there. Then it is realized that the shadow is not real. It is illusion. For Plato, the entire world is like a shadow. Because for Plato, there are only two things. That is truth and untruth. The reality, which is ultimate reality given by God, and imitation of that. Because the entire, Derrida says, in the entire Western philosophy, it is Plato who is responsible for construction of the other, like a man and a woman, construction of the other. Because they tried so many lies without, because of historical limitation, not that they consciously did it. Historical limitations, they lied in many cases. So, for example, Plato said that there are real and unreal. Real is the ultimate because it is God-given, and the unreal is a man-given. That is imitation. Imitation, there is no reality, but ultimate reality is a God-given. He divided the reality into two categories because he divided the speech and writing. You know that Plato did not write anything. There are many books in the name of Plato. Not even a single one he wrote. But all of them are written by his students. Why he did not write? He felt that writing is a bastardization of speech. Writing is a bastardization of speech. For example, the bottle is here. This is real. Bottle is real. I look at this bottle and I say bottle. Where is bottle? Bottle is here. But when I said bottle is not here, it is in my mind. So the bottle in my mind once removed from this real bottle. Because when I say bottle, it is removed once. Then I write on paper that bottle. Where is bottle? Bottle is here. And it came through my mind to the paper. So when it comes to paper, that is writing, 2 times it is removed. What happens when it is removed 2 times from the reality? What I told in the beginning, when I say something to madam and I go there, I will find a different kind of. That is why it is a distortion of reality. That is why he did not write anything. His guru also did not write. Socrates also did not write. Because whatever available in the name of Socrates, whatever available in the name of Plato are given to us. That is a lie. Derrida proved that writing is also a kind of speech. Writing is also a kind of speech. I don't want to go into those details. It is also a kind of speech and it is challenge. So what Plato told was a lie. Aristotle also told many lies. He said that women are weak. Women are less intelligent, not weak. Women are less intelligent. Why? Women are less intelligent. Why? I am not accepting that. As many teeth as men have. Because according to him, men have 32, women have only 30. Why? His wife has 30. So Aristotle's wife has 30. How could he conclude that women are less intelligent? Because he was respected everywhere. When he goes out, people are flocking around him, right, pouncing on him to meet him, to have a look at him. But when he goes home, she was beating him like anything. How such a great philosopher was not respected? He understood that to know your intelligence, the other one also should have some intelligence. That is the logic he applied. So this lady is foolish because she is less intelligent, because she has less teeth. But in modern science, there is a relation between the teeth and brain. When I wanted to get operated my mother's teeth, the doctor advised not to remove them because it will affect our brain. So there is a relation. But whether Aristotle knew it or not, we don't know. But he assumed that it has something with regard to intelligence. So for 2000 years, people believed. A general observation was made basing on a particular observation. His wife was less intelligent, not because he has a 30, but by nature she is like that. But what Aristotle said, he categorized it and publicized it and said that women are less intelligent. But to make you feel happy, now in all sciences, in all philosophies, in all academics, it is the women who are dominating throughout the world. Women who are dominating. How less intelligent creatures can do all this? So that is wrong. So like that, Aristotle, Plato, long ago, because they are historical limitations. Every civilization will have certain intellectual climate. We can go beyond that little climate to some extent, not fully. So the Plato and Aristotle were victims of their own intellectual climate. Not that they are dishonest. They sincerely felt that is why they told. So whatever it may be. So when you go into the details of the play Hamlet, you find the man struggling for a kind of moral principle. What he expects from an uncle, from a mother, from a lover, all these expectations are based from his moral philosophy, which was popularized in England even during the time of Shakespeare, in which Shakespeare has written that Elizabethan period. The moral fabric of that Elizabethan period was influenced tremendously by the philosophy of Plato. So the obsession, how can he believe a false statement or a good statement given by a ghost? There is no proof whether the ghost exists or not. But somehow he believed that there is a ghost. And he has doubt because he was a man of Renaissance. He has doubt whether the ghost telling the truth or not. He has doubt. But at the same time, guided by the moral principle and to live up to the expectations of the society, which demands to avenge the death of the father, and he moves in those lines and tries to take actions in support of the statement given by the father. But ultimately, he ruined his life. He ruined his life. But that's a different matter. But here, the entire personality of Hamlet is guided by the. There are so many details, I cannot deliver everything. So, it is guided by the Platonic perception with regard to life, death, or even the morality. Basic problem of Hamlet was morality. He is disturbed. He is disturbed because 5 minutes anta naaku చూడండి. Right, then I'll close all this. And that is one. And two things we have to understand. The Hamlet, I have took almost without taking time into consideration 13 paradigms to interpret Hamlet and Tempest. I briefly, I'll 10 minutes, madam. Briefly, I'll conclude. So feminist reading, because this is a Mahila University, feminist reading of Hamlet. What is the problem of Hamlet? The problem of Hamlet is his mother involved in the murder of his uncle. Hamlet was happy for his uncle killing his father, because it is a kind of Oedipus complex he is suffering. What Oedipus complex is in psychoanalysis? The son desires the mother, but to exhibit his extreme love towards the mother, father is the hurdle. So when there is a hurdle, what to do? We have to remove that hurdle. That is a desire embedded in every one of us according to Freudian psychology. So he has a desire to eliminate his father and possess his mother. That possession need not always be psychological, it is emotional. So he wants that, but the father is a hurdle. But this hurdle is removed by uncle. So now he identifies with his uncle. Now externally he believes that his uncle is a culprit. According to many psychoanalysts, internally he is one with his uncle, because he removed the hurdle which he wanted to eliminate. So in that way, that procrastination is because of this reason also. Now feminist reading is different. He uses very terrible abusive language. For example, even at that time, no literature of the world contained that kind of abusive language that son is using against his mother. Right? He says that even a pig might have mourned more. You are an incestuous beast. He uses the mother, unbearable language. He even says that I am unable to take these words, but he never uses very, very abusive language. Because what is the sin he has committed? He involved in the murder of his father and married his uncle. What is the problem? Now, Hamlet has soliloquies where he can downpour his emotions, his feelings. But Shakespeare did not give any soliloquy to Gertrude. If it is given, she would have told certain truths which would be shocking. But we have a possibility where we can imagine the sexuality, the innermost feelings of Gertrude. That is what a series of feminist thinkers tried to analyze the two characters, Ophelia and Gertrude. And in the conclusion, they said that Hamlet is a kind of irresponsible son who did not understand the sexuality of his own mother. Right? You just try to read the entire drama Hamlet from the perspective of what you call Gertrude. Hamlet becomes a villain. Imagine that there are some sexual problems to Claudius. She was unable to have that pleasure with that husband. Moreover, she is caught in a power structure which she cannot violate. As long as husband is alive, that husband is not a normal husband. That husband is a very powerful husband, king himself. But what is the body need? What is the desire? Because we are all subject of the desire at the end of the day. We are all motivated by desires. If the desire is not there, human beings are not there. We are all subjects of the desire. Not all sexual. Some kind of desire will motivate. That is why we are in that dynamic process. So you try to understand the limitations in which Gertrude is placed and the situation in which she is placed. And when you fall in water, pool of water, you try to come out of it in one way or the other. You cannot apply moral principles there. If morality, Generally, they say morals and ethics. Morals are extraneous. State imposes. Ethics are imposed by himself. So that's a different matter. Here, ethical guidance is there to what you call get truth. Out of that, she did something. And that something may be against the grain, against the social norms. But if you give a scope to her, she will justify her position. There is a beautiful novel in Telugu, Maidana. Narendra Sar knows it. Maidan. The woman is brought to the court because she involved in the murder of her lover. And she is brought to the court. The first sentence, if anybody, she elopes with a man and later she lives with him, and at the end of the novel, her husband dies and she is brought to the court on the accusation of a murder. She comes to the court, the first sentence she uses is that if anybody says that I am eloped, I am disturbed. In fact, she is eloped. But she has a point there and she argues in the entire novel. Decameron, you might have read. There is a story with two examples. There is a story where a woman is arrested for adultery. She is brought to the court. In the court, the inquiry is going on. She asks permission of the judge to speak. The judge gives permission. Sir, I have tremendous amount of love with me. For example, I have a lot of riches and property with me. I shared that property with that man, with this woman, and with that man. Do you find fault with it? No, we appreciate. Because it is meant for sharing. We appreciate. I have a lot of gold with me. I shared with this man, this woman, and that person. Do you object it? No, we appreciate. Likewise, I have tremendous amount of love with me. I have shared with some people. Why do you find fault with it? I shared the same amount of love with my husband. He is there. We ask him. The judge asked him whether she is, yes sir, she is very lovable to me. Then I shared because I have access. I shared with these men. Why do you find fault? Why you give that much of importance only to this? Why not other things? So likewise, we have radical observations which the character can make, which the character can raise. It's very difficult. Likewise, there are aspects related to the colonialism, post-colonialism. In Tempest, we have seen how Caliban challenges. There are so many plays which are rewritten in the light of that drama Tempest by Shakespeare. Here, the Caliban is a different one. Caliban there in the drama says, "You taught me the language; I use it to curse you." Like that, here Caliban by that Ami Sazair wrote a beautiful drama, A Tempest. In that, he challenged the ideas of Prosper, who is a colonizer. He accuses colonizer. So, in post-colonial studies, Shakespeare himself has been accused as a kind of colonizer. He justified in his dramas, knowingly or unknowingly, certain colonial ideas. So, likewise, you can apply structuralist theories, post-structuralist theories, particularly deconstruction, right? And a number of gender-related things, post-truth related things. There is no truth now. What is truth? When this man, the present president of America, Trump, became first-time president, in a year, he lied 2,500 times. 2,500. All of them are lies which have consequences to the rest of the world. But they are made to believe as if they are truths. So there is no truth now. They are talking about post-feminism. Like that, they are talking about post-truth. Right? It is emotion. If you can articulate a kind of false thing in emotional way and you can justify it, and there is a possibility. Likewise, the drama Hamlet is interpreted in the light of a post-truth also. Because in the entire drama, everybody is lying in one way or the other. So these lies are justified in their own way. You can expose them. Like that, there are many ways. But these theories will certainly help us in understanding literature better. A writer who is considered to be a normal can be identified as a great writer when you understand it creatively. So this interdisciplinary studies, by bringing heuristic tools from philosophy, sociology, anthropology, cultural studies, post-colonial, like that, a series of ideas, a host of ideas are there. We can use them. Then only we will be relevant in the classrooms. Because the students we have to, as teachers of literature, we have to understand there are many ways where students can expose themselves. If they expose themselves to all these kind of systems of knowledge available, if we don't, we become irrelevant in the class. But the danger in application of these theories, sometimes what happens now, like Professor Narendra, he won't accept all these kind of theories. For him, literature should be like a literature. Madam is also subscribing to literature should be literature. There is an example. This is the final thing. There is a beautiful Telugu writer whom we like and whom we know. That is Patanjali. He wrote a story, small story. In a forest, there is a mango tree. Under the mango tree, there lives a man. Every day, he plays flute. Whenever he feels hungry, he plays flute. The mango tree gives him sweet mangoes. And he eats the mangoes and survives on those mangoes. And he is living, his life is going on like that. But one day, a passerby meets him. Hey, it seems that you are a great musician, but you do not know the technicalities of music. I advise you to undergo some kind of training. In a nearby town, there is a great master who will teach you the scientific method of playing flute. You please go there and get training and come back. This man goes there with listening to him and he learns all the technicalities of playing flute and comes back and sits on the tree. He feels hungry, plays flute. The tree won't respond. And he plays and plays and plays. The tree won't respond, and mangoes are not given. And he is disturbed and he is crying and making lot of love. Ultimately, taking pity on him, the mango tree appears, gives him fruits, and tells him, "The man, this is the final time I am giving you. You take these mangoes, eat them, don't come back, and don't play flute here afterwards." Why? He asked. Because when you were playing music earlier, it was so soothing, so beautiful. I could enjoy it. Now I don't know what happened to you. You are playing a totally different kind of music which I am unable to enjoy. Unable to enjoy. So please don't come to me. Don't come to me. So the too much obsession with theories also, there is a possibility for killing the literature. You should be conscious of that. And finally, with one joke, there is a philosopher. He is interpreting the world in many ways. And one day, he meets a duck. And duck looks at him. Sir, you are interpreting the world from various aspects. Have you ever seen the world from the perspective of a duck? From the perspective of a duck. What happens if he sees the world from the perspective of a duck? What happened in that novel by Kafka, Metamorphosis? He got up and found himself as an insect, and the total world changed. Because until then, he was looking at the world as a human being. Now, he has to look at the world as an insect. So, the scheme of things in human world are totally different from the world of an insect. So, it radically changed. So, like that, when you apply a particular theory, particular text, the text seems totally different. When you go for a different kind of theory, it gives you a different kind of understanding. But all of them are, as they are creative, are essential, but we should not absolutize them, right? Thank you very much for the patience you have shown in listening to all little things I know. I am extremely thankful to the Department of English, Professor Sarada, Professor Nirmala, and all the members in the department for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
రండి.
Yeah, it's good afternoon now. I'm very happy to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. So, esteemed guests, honorable speakers, and participants, I'm very much delighted to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. First and foremost, on behalf of the Department of English and Organizing Committee, I profusely thank the administration, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Registrar, and Professor C. Vani, the coordinator of PM-USHA, for having given us this opportunity of conducting this seminar by sanctioning the grant from Pradhan Mantri Uchatar Shikshita Abhiyan scheme launched by the Ministry of Education to enhance higher education. Thank you, Vani Madam, for your support and encouragement in all our endeavors. Yeah, actually, VC Madam was supposed to join this program, but a sudden program has come up and Madam has to leave to some other place. I sincerely thank Professor Vijayalakshmi, Dean in charge, for presiding over the program. Thank you, Madam, for your valuable presence and for your insightful presidential address touching upon various aspects of interdisciplinary research. We are extremely thankful to Professor B. Tirupati Rao for his eloquent, insightful, and informative keynote address. We could see the hunger in him to transfer the knowledge that he acquired through extensive research. We are deeply grateful for sharing your expertise and research with us. Certainly, your talk has enriched our understanding of the text and context and how we have to apply various theories while analyzing a text, but with some limitations. Our gratitude and heartfelt thanks are due to Professor Madhurantakam Narendra. We are really happy that he belongs to our English community, English fraternity, for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. And sir, we are extremely thankful for your magnanimity for accepting our invitation, because we rarely get this opportunity to share the dais with two eminent writers, and one is a writer and one is a critic. This is a great opportunity indeed. We immensely thank all the participants for evincing interest in attending this seminar. Your timely response in sending the abstracts and full papers to facilitate the publication is highly, highly appreciated. Your active engagement and thought-provoking paper presentations will certainly make this seminar a truly interactive and collaborative. We'd like to thank all the deans, directors, heads of the departments and faculty and students, scholars of SPMVV for being a part of success of this session. I acknowledge the services rendered by the committee members, staff, volunteers, and research scholars of the department for their tireless efforts and dedication in conducting this inaugural session. I thank the print and electronic media for their wide coverage of the event. Once again, thank you for all your contributions and participation. We hope that the insights and the knowledge to be shared in this two-day national seminar will inspire and motivate us to work towards creating a more just and equitable society. Thank you, one and all. And now let us break for tea. After tea break, we are going to have...
It enables the evaluation of grammatical structures, vocabulary analysis, and the generation of customized educational materials. Machine learning algorithms